All right, so let's do that. Let's get right to a couple of positives. Uh, I'll let Loki go first. Loki, so what is like your? If you had to pick like the best, I don't know if you want to make it. It's a subjective thing anyway, but let's just say you throw a nominee into the hat here for like best film of the year.
Top Gun. Immediately, it's going to be Top Gun. What a great movie. Harkens back to old cinema. You have got a true star with Tom Cruise. Not any of this. Oh well, we came, we saw, and we acted like we were important, but we're not really important. Got to be Top Gun. Top movie of the year. Top Gun. But if you ask me what series was the best, it's got to be Halo.
See, because it brought us together. Because it brought us together. That's why it would be the best. It would be so. Yeah, no, I can't disagree with obviously having Top Gun in that conversation. Obviously, I was on the camp of I don't really need another Top Gun movie. Why are we doing this? And then of course I'm blown away at how amazing this film is. So superior to the original film. I just, the story is so tight. Well, execution is great. So I mean, Ironcastle, you obviously are nodding. You obviously agree.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed going to see it. I kind of went the extra mile with it. I went up north. I saw my dad right around Memorial Day when it came out. Him and we took a whole day. We're like, let's go to the movies. Of course, up there, the nearest movie theater was like 2.5, 3 hours drive.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow.
Driving all the way across the state just to go to a movie theater. We get there, or like, he's never gone to an IMAX or any of that. So we're like, let's go. We get there. The thing was completely sold out. The next one was gonna be a couple of hours away before they'd be able to go again, before we'd be able to get in. And it's like, are we just gonna really wait here? No, there's this a little smaller theater, closer to home, so we kind of get halfway back. We saw it there. We had a blast, kind of traveling across the state. I got to do some father-son bonding with my dad.
That's awesome.
And it was well worth it. We got to get together, just kind of like, it brought me back to like kind of memories of like me growing up, having this like model like F-15 Tomcat that like my dad was building, and I was kind of helping out, and it brings back a lot of memories from surrounding like childhood memories, and Top Gun worked a way that really brought that to me. To kind of get back into the actual movie itself, it was phenomenal. Like everyone at that theater was getting kind of choked up seeing Val Kilmer show up on showing up in his scene. And the other thing I really remember about it was before the movie starts, Tom Cruise took a moment to thank the audience for their time, for coming to the theaters.
Yeah. Daniel said he saw it 3 times. He really doesn't even care about the original film. That's really, I kind of lean more that direction, Daniel, where like we watched the original again and we both were kind of like meh about it. And then we watched this one twice. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's definitely something special about it.
And I've got a little bit of a different view on that original movie because I grew up in a Navy family. I grew up in a Navy family where these guys were like gods, man. You got to understand something, when you're growing up and you're like, oh, I like He-Man and He-Man's my hero and this person. And yeah, I had Superman and shit, but I want to tell you something. I lived around pilots. So the superhero guys were real life in 3D right in front of me, and they all had mustaches. They all had these goose style fucking mustaches, and they all wore them. The 70 porn stash was like, this is what superheroes look like. They wore dress whites, they had mustaches, and they wore aviators. So it was like, it's really weird because I go back to that movie and I'm the original, and I can't help but think about that life, that time, and living in that time and experiencing that time. And then to see, I'm really, really happy I got to see the first preview where he's flying in Russia in the F-18. I got to see that preview with my dad. I got to watch it. I watched it over the phone. We shared that experience before he passed away. It sucks he never got to see the movie. He would have loved it. Best movie of the year, easy.
All right, Ironcaster, let's go to you, and you can put your aviators away, I guess. Let's throw another one on the list. You pick one that you want to add to the list. What's another one that needs to be on the best of the year conversation?
Oh, that's gonna be a tough one. I mean, there were a few. A couple. We had a couple of really good films that came out this year that hit big.
And you got to save me a couple to pick from, so you got to be careful. So you got to give me something to pick from, so you can at least add one.
Yeah, and it's gonna be one of the. The other one that really comes to mind is RRR.
Yeah,
I gotta go there.
Something special.
That was the movie. That was like the sleeper hit of the year. Basically, from like February when that thing first came out, when I first heard guys like Culture Casino talking about it, all the way throughout this year, I always heard someone talk about they're like they saw RRR. This is the movie it was the movie everyone was talking about that had that sort of shelf life around the same as like Top Gun did. Just that was sort of the streaming version of Top Gun in a way. Sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. Bobby, I do see you there, buddy. We'll get to TV stuff maybe in a minute. And hey to you, and hey to Zombie Box Reviews, our ZBRs here. Yeah, look, again, I'm not into Bollywood at all. I've long since abandoned that. So, of course, all this talk about an Indian film like this, and Zax and Flaccid, and as you mentioned, we have Latino slant and culture. These different people that we respect in our community are praising this film. I remember watching this, and I was just like, "What the heck have I just watched? This is crazy good." Like and I will admit that I want to like other ones as much. There's really only one other one that's even remotely that good of a quote film, but it's not nearly as entertaining. It's more of a heavy drama. RRR just has almost everything for everyone. It's just a very special film, that kind of thing. Loki, did you ever get a chance to see it? I know last we talked, yes. I don't think you had. Okay. What was your thoughts? Because I know you kind of came in a little bit later too to the game of like, oh crap, this is something everybody's talking about.
Okay, so you're talking about movies that go to the beat of their own drum. And RRR definitely goes to the beat of its own drum, but it's really, really good. And you could almost compare it to the Monty Python movies. There's some of that. There's some of that raw. We're gonna do whatever. We're gonna do what we want and what we think is entertaining. And you can roll with that, or you can sit there and scratch your head and not get it. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. Is you can roll with it and have a great time, or you can scratch your head and go, I don't get it. And if you don't get it, that's fine. I really don't care. I can get it. Yeah. I can understand that. But for the people that do get it, holy shit, what a fun ride.
Yeah. Daniel says RR is another winner. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, just with the pacing of that movie, how it at about an hour and a half into the movie, you're having this big buildup of this big fight with all the tigers running around, mauling people. You're having the themes like the fire and the water coming together, fighting, where it seems like this by all accounts should be the big climax of the movie. And we're only at the halfway point.
I know. I felt the same way. I'm like, I don't understand. What else could we possibly do in this film to keep me engaged for another hour? I couldn't believe it. And it's like, they just have so much bang for the buck in their films, and they have no problem mixing genres together and that kind of thing. It's crazy. I'm going to say something that Daniel's kind of alluding to. He says, R is another winner. I did an overnight stay in a city to see that in a theater. Yeah, I really hope that it gets a re-release around Oscar season, which is a conversation in and of itself. But I do hope so I can get a chance to actually see it in the theater. Made a Rubber popped in and says, what's hard? Talk is hard. Come on, dude. It's on brand. Let's go. And Daniel says, look to Loki, your Monty Python comparison, an interesting one. I get what you mean. Cool. Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. So if I get to add one more, and then we can kind of do like maybe there's others that should be in the conversation. I'm probably going to pick the only film that will keep RR from winning certain awards, and that's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. It's a Netflix film. It's a remake. The remake, of course, the film is an adaptation of a book. It's an anti-war book in film and themes, but it's not political. Like, it has sort of a class conversation and metaphor with it. Like, so here's all these soldiers in World War I in the grit and the mud and the dirt and the chaos, and they'll cut away and juxtapose that with the Germans elite having all this food and all this luxury and all this life, where they're making, battle decisions, sending more grunts into harm's way. And the film is beautifully shot, beautifully executed, tightly written. It's a German film, so it will be nominated opposite RR in the international categories. I don't know what other categories it will get nominated in Oscars. I know overseas there's different categories it's winning because of sound, editing, those kinds of things. I don't think any of those are going to win here. Top Gun's going to win, some of the sound and effects, and rightfully so, right? So that's fine.
This is the third movie. This is the second remake they make. 'Cause they remade this when I was a teenager. And the original black and white, if anybody's ever seen that, you know how it ends. It's one of the most
Sure.
I saw that in school and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is the way it ends. And yeah, that's the way it ends. So
it is heart-wrenching. It is an incredible film, and it is one that it's a book that really kind of changed my life. I know a lot of people who disagree with me on some political stuff, and this is part of the reason why. It's like the horrors of war should always make us pause, and the film is set out to do that, just as the book was, and that kind of thing. Hey, Leia Rose, who popped in. Adega Outlaw, the crazy doctor, he's up in here. So, and Ryan is echoing that All Quiet on the Western Front is one hell of a film, especially the latest one. Talk about the savagery of war. Yeah, they did a great job. So that's my addition to the conversation of the top three. What other ones do you want to throw out on the list? Ironcaster, you chomping at the bit to throw a few more against the wall. Throw out a couple more that if we had to flush this out, some like 5, 10, whatever, you'd like, this should be listed, this should be listed. And we don't have time to kind of like really do deep commentary, but if you had a few other films that you think this is kind of like the best of the best stuff.
Well, one of the ones that was a real surprise hit that turned out way better than I thought it was going to be. One that is certainly not a movie for deep thought. Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe.
Okay.
God. All right. I don't know that's on my best of list for me, but I understand what you're trying to get at.
It's one I will happily go rewatch again before I go rewatch Thor Love and Thunder. Just rewatching that Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe for the scene alone where the two of them are going into the college and learn about white privilege.
Okay. All right. Loki, you got some others that we can kind of throw into the conversation about our best of list kind of thing from a movie standpoint?
I do. And that movie is The Northman.
Yeah.
So
a lot of fans of The Northman out there for sure.
There are a lot of fans of The Northman. You've got Alexander Skarsgård, who does an absolutely wonderful job in this. Nicole Kidman. You've got an absolute stellar cast. You've got Ethan Hawke. Some great people made this movie, and you can tell it had a lot of heart and a lot of emotion. And it's in another way. We were talking about father and son stories earlier today. It's in a way, it's a father and son story. It's a family story.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. There was a great comment earlier about Smile. I have not seen that. A lot of people also love that, and they praise it as their best horror film of the year, those kinds of things. All I can tell you is that I really like Black Phone. I'm telling you, this Pinocchio thing that Guillermo del Toro did is an Oscar winner. I mean, it is an incredibly bizarre take on like the original book, the original, the Adventures of the Puppet type book. Like it is weird and whatever. So I don't know that Disney people are going to like and get it, but I love it. It's incredible. And it's done like that whole animated stop motion stuff, which takes you right back to, the OG stuff that we all love. So that's some of the stuff that I can